the MAGA movement is it's so addicted to conspiracy that it's now like mainlining its own poison. And the whole Jeffrey Epstein client list fiasco is the catastrophe we all saw coming, right? I mean, watching Trump's own administration try to clean up a mess that they happily fueled for years, it's a special kind of complete meltdown. It's, you know, it's a really spectacular example of what happens when your entire political identity is just built on lies. Eventually you get tangled in your own web, and honestly, I guess it's almost pitiable to watch. And the latest chapter in this saga of stupid involves Caroline Leavitt, who's Trump's national press secretary. She went on TV and delivered, I mean, truly one of the most pathetic see-through deflections you will ever witness. So this is what Leavitt spewed when she was asked why the so-called, client list suddenly vanished into thin air. I'm thinking, okay, what's she going to say? I'm going to play you the clip from Forbes breaking news, but you might want to brace yourself. I mean, this level of shameless gaslighting is something else.
To get to the bottom of what happened.
Caroline, the DOJ and FBI have now concluded there was no Jeffrey Epstein client list. What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration. And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the President's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
Follow up on that,
Sure.
Caroline. Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network, on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was
What?
saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Okay. Thanks, Caroline. With Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Did you catch that? I mean, really? She was asked, hey, what happened to the client list? And she immediately started babbling about some summer heat operation or something and how they're locking up bad guys. It just reminds me of trying to get a straight answer from a toddler, you know? The kind who's just drawn on the walls with a crayon. You just get a lot of enthusiastic noise about something completely, totally different. You know, this whole clown show, it would be funny if it weren't so damn dangerous. I mean, the sheer audacity of these bootlickers to claim truth and transparency while they're performing the most opaque, disingenuous pivot imaginable is just, it's breathtaking. And here's the beautiful, like, karmic irony of it all. The very same people who rode to power screaming about a deep state cover-up are, well, they're now the ones running the cover-up. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Look, this pathetic display, it's not really for us. You know what I mean? It's for their own supporters. And some of the loudest voices in their ecosystem are actually starting to call out the nonsense. The thing about the MAGA media world is that people think it's this unified chorus, but it's really just a chaotic mess of like grifters and trolls who are now they're turning on each other. Like, as the MSNBC panel was talking about, you can tell it's not just one little crack anymore. The whole foundation is showing some serious signs of stress. There's this quote from, what's his name? Angelo Carasone. Yeah, Carasone. And it perfectly describes the whole MAGA media landscape. He said, it's not one course with a single conductor. It's more like a music festival with a bunch of stages, and you sort of have to have everything oriented and organized correctly if they're all pointed at each other. It's just a big cacophony of noise. And right now, it feels like the stages at that festival are all pointed directly at each other, and it's creating a total nightmare for Trump. The loudest feedback screech is coming from the sociopath who used to be one of their biggest cheerleaders, Elon Musk. And you have to understand, it's not like this is just some Twitter spat. No, we're talking about a former ally with basically infinite money and a massive platform who is now turning on the cult leader. It's one of those things where Musk is pouring gasoline on the Epstein conspiracy fire, but he's aiming the nozzle squarely at Mar-a-Lago. He's using the exact same playbook of baseless accusations and paranoid speculation that these clowns use for years. It's a dirty, stupid playbook, but now it's being turned right back on the morons who wrote it. Claire McCaskill, she was on MSNBC and she laid out Musk's. I mean, it's a hypocritical strategy, but it's effective. She laid it out perfectly. Check out what she had to say about the accusations he's leveling at Trump.
They are going to reap it because here's the thing. Elon Musk is making a pretty good point. He's saying the only reason they're not releasing the files is because Donald Trump's name is in them. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not. That's what Musk is saying. And of course, that drives Donald Trump crazy, but they're not releasing them. And they said they would release them. They said they would release everything. Then there would be no redactions. Everybody would see everything, all the dirty secrets about Epstein. And you know, the other thing, Nicole, to remember here is the other way autocracies splinter is if there are power centers away from the autocracy that can really make a difference. And this is where Elon Musk's money is pretty darn important.
Yeah, that's right. Musk, the ultimate grifter, is playing their own game against them. And it drives the control-obsessed figures in the White House absolutely insane. They're trapped, really. It's a prison of their own making. They can't release the files because it'll just create more questions, right? But then by hiding them, they feed the very same paranoia that got them elected in the first place. It's a catch-22, I guess. And, Musk isn't the only former ally with a megaphone who's starting to sound the alarm. The whole MAGA machine is also like sputtering because of people like Joe Rogan, who, for better or worse, has the ear of millions of Americans. I mean, literally millions. This is a guy who endorsed Trump, right? And his audience is, it's a key part of the MAGA coalition. That's two things right there. I know people, I really do, smart people even who take what Rogan says as like gospel. So when he starts questioning Trump's policies, it's a big, big deal. He recently went off about the administration's immigration raids, and his take, it's just so simple, so common sense, and it just cuts right through all the racist fear-mongering. Listen to what Joe Rogan is saying now.
We were told there would be there's two things that are insane. One is the targeting of migrant workers, not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers showing up in construction sites and raiding them, gardeners.
Yeah.
Like, really?
I mean, when even Joe Rogan is saying, really, you've probably gone too far for like mainstream consumption, he's pointing out the obvious. The administration is terrorizing gardeners and construction workers, not, kingpins. Why? Well, because it's easier and it it creates a spectacle for their base. This is the logical endpoint of their whole rhetoric. It's like Claire McCaskill pointed out, ICE now has a bigger budget than the FBI. I mean, let that sink in. The FBI, an agency that fights actual, international crime syndicates and terrorists. Also, Stephen Miller can live out his sick fantasies of persecuting landscapers. It's unbelievable. And this is how these controlling movements, they begin to fail. They start splintering from within. The sycophants and the grifters who enable the psycho at the top, eventually they start fighting each other for power and for influence, or maybe they just get disgusted by the monster they helped create. So what we're seeing with Musk and Rogan and the whole Epstein conspiracy meltdown, I mean, you might think it's just palace intrigue, but it's so much more. It's like a snake eating its own tail, a movement. So high on its own supply of lies that it can no longer tell the difference between friend and foe. At the end of the day, I mean, what is this entire MAGA movement? It feels like a fragile coalition of narcissists, cowards, and cultists that are held together by nothing more than grievance and a shared hatred. So let them tear each other to pieces. It feels like the inevitable, pathetic end for a political project built on, well, nothing but a con man's ego. All right. So I guess that's where we are. The Republican Party is just a total mess of its own making, with the arsonists now fighting over who gets to hold the matches. It's a pathetic spectacle, but one we absolutely need to keep our eyes on. Let me know what you think of this whole clown show down in the comments below. I do my best to read through as many as I can. So let me know if you think this is like the beginning of the end for them, or I don't know, just another Tuesday, right? And if you got anything out of this video, do all the usual YouTube things, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and make sure you ring that little notification bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. I think that's all for me today. Stay vigilant out there. Cheers.